Okay, sure, perfect dragon wings are nice, but what about LEGO dragon heads? Hi, I'm Pen of Pen Plays, and I'm back again talking about LEGO Ninjago Dragons. Last time we talked about how wings can make or break the experience with them. We went over what makes them good and what makes them a challenge to work with, but the final result was definitely unexpected. Of course, the first thing I had you all do was comment on which you prefer, but a lot of you made the point that it was more the heads of these dragons that mattered more to you than the wings. So why don't we go over the options here with that as well, and figure out which LEGO dragon heads are the best too. There are only two different types of dragon heads, molded and brick-built, and each of them have different types. Molded heads include two-piece heads and swappable heads, and brick-built heads include brick core heads and free-for-all heads. Let's start with the brick-built heads. Both of these are quite versatile, but what sets them apart is that they're almost always purely unique. Brick core heads are dragon heads that have a simple LEGO brick at its core, serving as the central structure, but also the eyes of the dragon, as the eye patterns are printed on. We see this used with the Legacy Ultra Dragon. Each of these heads have a 2x2 brick at the center that truly holds them all together. Specific shapes get built around them to fully flesh them out. This dragon focuses on having each of the original Ninja's elements represented, so they each reflect that. Both the Earth and Ice Dragon heads share the same brick core, and the Lightning and Fire Dragon heads share theirs with Boreal, the Ice Dragon from the Castle of the Forsaken Emperor. Here we see an example of a less is more approach, where not many pieces go into making the head of this dragon, but it still looks rather complete. This in contrast with dragons like Stormbringer, which uses 1x4 bricks at the core of its head and uses lots of parts to fully flesh it out. But seeing as the head and neck are static to accommodate 1x4 launchers for a function, the core of this whole assembly seems to surround that instead. One could argue this is too much with how dense the build is, but I think it's more about part choice than how many pieces are involved. Looking at Griefbringer here, it manages to execute a skull while still retaining a brick core all the same. It's a fragile but elegant approach, using lots of hinges and angles. Let's also take a look at Jay's Cyber Dragon. It has a brick core, but the head is quite simple. What sells it is the usage of parts. Daggers for teeth, Star Wars droid legs for cheekbones. It's genius stuff. The opportunity to use strange parts gets difficult in free-for-all head builds. They don't have a core to build around, so they become the free expression of the set designer. This leaves you with builds as simple as the Cowler Dragon, or like Cole's Dragon here. Not too much going on with either of these, but you can tell what they are. But then you have works of art like Firstborn. She's the mother of all dragons. She better have a head we hold to such a high standard. Firstborn's head is an example where having a free-for-all on design can create something legendary. But loading up on pieces doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed works of art like this. Sometimes you have dragons like the Moro Dragon, which, despite it not being an awful dragon, it's got perhaps one of the messiest heads we're looking at today. Seems that the design prompt was to poke someone's eye out, but you know someone out there loves it. This is the risk in going with free-for-all brick-built heads. It being art is not guaranteed. You have something that exists purely to be an interesting build, like Lloyd's Green NRG Dragon, but then you have something as endearing as the Master Wu Dragon. Just look at how much personality this guy has, and check out the part usage too. Croissants and blasters for horns, elephant trunks and Unikitty tails for facial hair designs to match with Master Wu. You can get a lot out of builds like these. It just depends on who's handling the design. You've seen how crazy yet impressive the brick-built heads can be, but don't think that means the molded heads can't do incredible things too. This right here is the original Ninjago Fire Dragon from the Fire Temple set. This is a two-piece head. Simply, it's made of two pieces that come together to make a whole. The particular need for that with this head is so the launcher built inside its maw can fire by pinching the halves of its head together. These pieces are made out of a rubbery material, which means lots of things, good and bad. With elements like these, it's really easy to get ornate patterns out of it, as well as functionality, but as a softer material, it can decay and become damaged far easier than the usual LEGO pieces we see. I'm sure that's what eventually led to LEGO designers doing brick-built heads in the first place, though eventually they did develop another type of two-piece head. These heads were developed for Ninjago Legacy as something both standard sets and 4+ sets can use. It being in two pieces allows the jaw to move, but also to place a piece inside to represent its elemental breath, or even a launcher. Trouble with this one is that it only has so many uses for dragon builds. It's rather small, and despite how neat these being based off of the original rubber-like heads were, it wasn't the best choice for larger dragons. Eventually, these paved the way to swappable heads. These dragons have versatile halves that you can mix and match as you like, but also have plenty of room for specific prints to give these dragons more personality, as well as some studs so you can decorate most of these as you please. This simplicity allows a smoother customization process, and while that may be easy, not every dragon is equipped with the most attractive hinges to make them move. For the most part, these were used on the Evo dragons, which had this hinge plate attached to all of them, and were not nearly as clean looking as other options. Ironically, those hinges were used to make the head on Lloyd's legendary dragon happen. This might be the best looking head of the swappable heads, which is interesting to say, because it actually uses an impressive amount of pieces built over it to make it look this nice. I guess, truly, the best of both worlds yields the best results. That's more my opinion though. It's very clear that the swappable heads can yield some quick results, but pretty much all brick-built heads prove there is so much to be had with them, and their combination only proves that, no matter which you pick, can get you perfect results. What do you think? Is it a tie? Or is one truly superior in your eyes? Are one of the others your favorite anyways? You can let us know down in the comments. I'm Pen, this is Masters of Brickjitsu, and I'll see you next time.